guys, welcome. Unfortunately, we don't have a chance to do our summer camps, but this is going to be the first installment of some outdoor virtual recreation opportunities. We're going to be talking about adventure today, and a great way to start, the subject we're going to cover is how to go hiking and backpacking and get out there. It's a great way to get some exercise while you're social distancing, but also see some really, really cool things. So today we're going to do a 4-part program, get you invested in the different aspects of what to do it, and in the end we'll give you some fuel for your trip. Alright, so part 1, planning your adventure. I've been graced, I've lived all across the country, I've seen many things, I've traveled to Australia, and hiking and my skills there have allowed me to see some absolute fantastic things. And I'd like to share a couple of them with you and some places I'd like to go see. So the first one, this is Hocking Hills, Ohio, pretty close to where I grew up. It was a great summer location. The hemlocks and the cool water kept those hollows nice and cool. And when you got to the bottom, they actually built a tunnel into the cliff that led up over 200 stairs right back up to your parking lot. Ended up being about a 3-mile round journey. Amazing place to go visit. This next one is something I found in the last 10 years. Really cool destination. Do you recognize it though? You probably should, because it's right here in Hillsborough County at the mouth of Tampa Bay. This is Egmont Key. It's way out there. It has great trails and beaches, but no amenities. So if you find your way out there, you gotta take a ferry to get there. You gotta be prepared at the same time, even if you don't plan on walking a long distance. Now, the next two are places either I went near and didn't get a chance to see, or just on that list of someday I wanna go out and see those. They should be incredible. This first one, I drove past. It's in Zion National Park in Utah, just above Arizona. It has incredible sandstone canyons. The trails literally, at parts, you are walking through the stream. But it's also really dangerous because you have to watch the weather really carefully. With frequent summer storms, the water comes through that area and it's known for frequent flash floods. But if you watch those, you listen to the rangers, you'll be safe, and you will get some breathtaking views and some wonderful photographs out there. The next one, and the last one on this list, is definitely my ultimate destination. This is the El Camino del Rey in Spain, or the King's Highway. Originally built as a series of trails to help maintenance workers on a hydroelectric dam project back in the 1920s. It fell into disrepair, so if you can find El Camino del Rey on YouTube before they renovated it, check it out, your jaw will drop. Now that it's been renovated, it's much more safe. There are narrow cliffside trails, but you get amazing views and you get to experience Spain. So hopefully someday I'll get to go to this location. All right, so that's just gives you an idea of what you can do. You get out hiking, you see amazing stuff, but it's not as simple as throwing on some shoes and going out there. So my first question for you guys, you're with your family, you want to discuss it, you can pause this video, is what is the favorite place you've been to, and what is your ultimate destination? These are mine. If you happen to run into me at the park, I'd love to hear some places you recommend. Maybe we'll share some great ideas between each other. All right, so we're going to move on to part 2, which is planning your trip. And that seems pretty basic. Even if you're going out to one of the parks and preserves here in Hillsborough County, where we have 70,000 acres of preserves, some small, some really large we have to prepare, most people think you grab the standards. Grab some bottle of water, some sturdy hiking shoes, and you're good to go. Real quick on that note, because they are basic, you don't want to walk out in your sandals. You want something firm, so if you step on something, you're protected. If you're going to happen to go to a park like Upper Tampa Bay, where we run the Eco Camp, you're going to want something, again, with very sturdy soles on your shoes, so you're protected, but you also want some closed toes here, because you can run into oyster beds, mangrove stubs, anything out there. You got to protect yourself. And as always, number one thing you got to do is be prepared. Don't forget the rules. We got this right here. And you'll see a lot of boards like this. Feel free to pause and capture on your computer so you can review later. But these are some common plants that you want to avoid. If you're out there, if you make any other mistakes, don't make your problems worse. Look for leaves of 3 and leave them be. Don't touch. The sumac has more, but that's very rare in this area. Poison oak, poison ivy, they're really easy to identify. They look a lot alike, but they're in that grouping of 3. Second thing to do, if you're going out to any place, you got to let people know where you're going. Whether it's paddling, hiking, whatever, don't go out alone. If you do go alone, leave a note at the ranger station, say, hey, I'm out here, so that they know you're out there. You run into problems, they notice your car or your parents' car is not gone for the evening, they can stop and go look for you. If they don't know you're out there, they won't think of anything is wrong. They may not come to find you. Avoid hiking alone, especially in those wild areas. One person can always help the other. And finally, have and know an emergency plan. The famous story from the Eco Camp at Upper Tampa is the guy who went out kayaking by himself. His kayak started taking water. He didn't have a plan, didn't know what to do. He was on a sandbar. He called 911, said his boat is sinking, even though he was staying in a foot of water. A whole water rescue operation was launched by the sheriff's department. It was a big mess. Check your boat before you go. Check things like that. Same thing with hiking. Know where you're going. If you're going on a area with cliffs, know, hey, how am I going to stay safe? Do I have a phone on me? Is there going to be reception? Do I have a whistle or something with me I can communicate? What are you going to do if you get into a problem? So when you do, you don't have to think from new, you have a plan. All right, moving on to part 2. You know where you want to go. You've planned this great excursion. It could be a big day hike here in Hillsborough County. Maybe you have some destination that requires an entire vacation to get to. Regardless of where you're going to go, before you head out, you always need to do a little bit of pre-planning. Like we mentioned, number 1 item you need to make sure you bring is water. But if you're going on a big trip, you may need to bring a lot more. All depends. But did you know how much this gallon of water weighs? Actually weighs 8 pounds. Now, pause this video if you like, do this little quick experiment. Parents, you got kids there, definitely make them do this. Have them go to the fridge, get a gallon of milk, preferably one that hasn't been opened so they don't spill it. But see how long they can hold this bottled water. No elbows on tables cheating like I'm doing right now. How long can they hold that bottled water in their arm? Now, imagine that 8 pounds added to your pack. You're carrying it around with you. Maybe you're just doing a 3-mile hike. Or what if you're doing a 15-mile hike or a 20-mile hike? Or are you going out for a few days? A trick that backpackers use to get rid of that water weight is they'll actually bring a filter with them where they can use the local rivers, lakes, and streams, but they have to treat that water. It has to be filtered, treated with iodine to get rid of any contaminants and any bacteria and stuff that might be in that water. Don't suggest just running to a lake and drinking it. Probably not the best of things will happen if you do that. So, second item you're going to want to bring is to be prepared for anything, especially if you're up in the mountains or a place where weather can roll up on you fast. Bring some sort of rain jacket or gear that's going to keep you dry. That's the number 1 thing, especially if you're in a habitat that's not Florida, where the weather's a little bit cooler. We have a breezy day today. You get wet, the wind hits you, your body temperature can drop, and you can actually go hypothermic even if it's not terribly cold out, even in the 60s and 70 degree range. If you're wet and you can't get dry and you're in an environment that you're not used to.